Why does Christopher Nolan not drink Carling? Because he's... So what can I say about Interstellar? Well, it's better than Gravity, I suppose. So this is Nolan's first film since his lame duck fart that ended his Dark Knight trilogy so spectacularly bad. And so people, and mostly by people I mean my one mate, were very excited at the prospect of seeing Nolan get into some more original material. And to be fair, this would normally have been a safe bet. In mine and many other people's opinions, The Prestige is clearly his best film, and being a big old sci-fi fan, it was kind of destined to be a match made in heaven. An easy return to form, surely. You know, you got McConaughey and Hathaway both still Oscar hot, and then you throw in Michael Caine.
Hello, my name is Michael Caine.
My name is Michael Caine.
And like 400 other fantastic actors, and it's clear to see how this time it was easily going to work on paper. But I'm going to save you people the fare of an Orange Wednesday now, and just come out right now and say it. So is Interstellar bad? You bet your ass it's bad. And that's not to say it's made poorly. You know, you can see all the money on the screen. As per the norm with these sort of affairs, the special effects are obviously fantastic. But that's really not enough these days. When you've got so much to compare it to, great special effects are not allowed to be your saving grace anymore. And the visuals barely scratch on the film's many glaring redundancies. What's more rage-inducing is that Inception is evidence in itself that Christopher Nolan knows how to take a complicated, high-concept sci-fi idea and translate it well for film.
You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bigger, darling.
No one out there can deny that a lot of what Interstellar throws at us is very interesting and very thought-provoking. But thought-provoking does not mean engaging and does not mean exciting on the screen. Like, it's said a lot that there's normally a great movie hidden within this bad one somewhere. But I think in this film, there's a great book somewhere, and I honestly think that a lot of the philosophies and ideals of the film would be better presented in a more long form and detailed way. And I wish I'd learned more from this movie, which sounds like the nerdiest thing to say ever, but it's kinda true. Also, being a Nolan film, you knew when you walked in that you were in store for some Nolan twists. And without annoying any of you folks online, let me just say, and you can ask my friends who you can't ask, but whatever, but I guessed all of the so-called twists that this movie had to offer. I knew who Jessica Chastain and Casey Affleck were going to be. I knew when and where Matt Damon was going to appear. Oh yeah, Matt Damon's also in this. What? It's not a spoiler, he's on the cast list. It's not my fault that everyone else isn't on IMDb. And I guessed the mystery of the ghost. Yeah, don't ask. To Nolan's credit, there has been no greater attempt in the history of cinema to make a film as little fun as scientifically possible as Interstellar. And while Nolan was never one to shy away from darker plots, he would normally, like any other director, have lighter moments to break up the mortal in. Interstellar, on the other hand, is positively morose. Every scene is laden and burdened with this thick molasses of anguish and fear and uncertainty and guilt and every other not fun emotion that there is to offer. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my space movies I like a bit of fun, and in a film that drones on and on about space exploration, it really didn't do anything for me in terms of wanting to join NASA anytime soon.
It is a silly place.
I mean, when Matt Damon's character finally shows up, it's almost crazy how the filmmakers literally just about realise that we need some genuine conflict to keep the film going. Like, they remembered they were actually making a movie and not Cosmos. Interstellar is essentially just a string of admittedly very interesting sci-fi concepts connected with a loose to piss-poor story. Other obvious comparisons will also be attributed to last year's Gravity, and a lot of the cinematography in this film, while being on a very high standard, does have some glaring Gravity envy. Nolan's attempt at semi-surreal mind-bending visuals, that he did prove that he could do it in Inception, feels painfully been there and done that now. Oh, and by the way, speaking of painful, the planets that we get to visit in a film called Interstellar, which promises great space adventure, were some of the dullest rocks ever put on the big screen. And I can appreciate taking that route, I really can. Most other planets probably are boring, but again, this is a movie. And again, a lot of these concepts really just do not translate well to film. I don't care how beautiful your world is or how interesting your concepts are, it's all for nothing if I just don't care what's going on. He now decides to shake things up a bit by deciding to have two pretty large, coexisting plot lines running simultaneously. As snail-like as the film already feels, there was a definite, definable abyss between the cuts back between the parallel plots, which is especially annoying as when I'm just getting immersed in the great space stuff, I was always being dragged back to boring Dirtsville, USA. Plus, when you throw time relativity into the mix, meaning years can be passing between cuts, it really outstays its welcome at, are you kidding me, 2.5 hours? And that's definitely 2.5 hours of just nothing. And nothing feels really long. Like, I know I sound childish and petty now, but seriously, nothing happens, nothing does. It's just a series of things happening on screen that we're supposed to apparently care about. Mostly just intercut with either shots showing the vastness of space or a GoPro fitted to the hull of the spaceship. There's also an annoyingly plentiful series of quote-unquote emotional scenes that I really can't describe besides saying you'll know what I mean when you see it, if you see it. All the deaths have no consequence either. Literally a quarter of the team will suddenly be wiped out and it doesn't affect the story in any way. Yep, we just didn't know what to do with your character, so bye. And it is awkward to see McConaughey as Cooper, an actor who has shot up in many people's recent expectations, who has to legitimately act his pants off to material that just falls comedically back on its ass. And it's equally distressing to see Cooper being reduced to an idiot just so the exposition can be explained to us thickos in the audience. The amount of shit he doesn't know before going onto a world-saving space mission is staggering. So yeah, in summary, Interstellar may not have sent me to sleep in the theatre like The Tree of Life did, and it may not be as offensive as the obvious Michael Bay comparisons, but Interstellar was so tedious it made me break one of my only rules in the cinema. It made me lower my screen's brightness on my phone, and I started playing Bloons Tower Defense 4 instead. Yeah, great job, Nolan. Better luck next time in engaging me, mate. Oh yeah, and by the way, Hollywood, we are now in a post-Avengers world. Everyone saw that. Please refrain from using the word Tesseract now for, like, ever.